Hello, people of the great online world. Thank you for joining me and tuning in to listen to my endless nonsense. And I just wanted to talk a little bit today about something that has been on my mind a lot, and that is friends reaching out and talking to me, and not just friends, colleagues and beyond, even people that I see talking online. And they're so terribly sad because they're single and alone and left behind and forgotten. And it makes me feel sad for them in a sense, because I understand that within society there is a great amount of pressure to be in a relationship, to get married, to have children, to buy a house and fulfill all those things that are perceived as being normal and successful and whatever else it may be. And I have one or two single friends with whom I chat frequently, and being single myself, we often feel like we're in some ways cheating at life, like we found a key to happiness that people are not able to find, and it's some kind of dirty secret that we should keep to ourselves. But yes, it's wonderful to find love and to be loved, and I've been very fortunate to have wonderful relationships in the past. I've been married in the past, and that marriage ended due to unfortunate life circumstances involving family deaths and so on, and just geographical issues and beyond. But I realized at the time that for me personally as an individual, marriage was not for me. I am someone who loves to spend a lot of time alone. I love writing, I love reading, I love acts of solitude, and I love to be able to simultaneously just take a trip somewhere, jump on a plane and fly to California. And when I go to California, am I going to go to San Diego? Am I going to go to Los Angeles, San Francisco? Or do I want to go to Boston or Virginia Beach, or go and visit some friends in Miami? These are all things that are very difficult to do if you're in a relationship, and that probably sounds very selfish. But over time, particularly somebody like myself who tends to try to make people happy, I am always saying, where would you like to go? Which place would your favorite place be? And then of course there's some kind of a discussion, negotiation, and you end up choosing a place and you go. And then when you're there, you wake up on your first morning of holiday, and as a single person I can just say, I'm going to stay in bed for 3 hours and read a book, and then I'm going to get up and walk down to the beach, and I'm just going to take it easy, or I'm going to go to a bar and have a beer and just go from there. Go to the bar, have a beer, meet strangers, chat to them, have a great time. Who knows, you may decide you want to go and have a walk with one of the strangers you met. I don't recommend that if you're a youth. Don't talk to strangers, don't accept alcohol from strangers, but you know what I mean. If you're there with a partner, you wake up in the morning and your partner says, I've already got an itinerary, and at 8 a.m. we're going to go and have breakfast at this place, and then we're going to go and see this place, and then we're going to walk there, we're going to rent a car, and we're going to drive to the other side of the city. When we get to the other side of the city, we're going to look for houses. And yes, I know we live in a city with no beach, but even though we're right here at the beach, doesn't matter. We're going to drive into the city and spend our day looking at city stuff and doing city things. And that's fine if you wake up and choose that's what you want to do, or you decide you love that stuff, great. But ultimately, you're probably going to be sacrificing what you want to do always for somebody else. And as that starts to grind you down and it starts to irritate you and annoy you, and this is both ways, both parties in the relationship, resentment starts to creep in. And then you start to think, I want to do my own thing, or you go into a restaurant and you see someone and you think, I'd love to talk to that person, or that person who just spoke to me seemed really nice. I'd love to know more about them. And then your partner says, hey, why are you looking at that person? What are you doing? Why did you speak to that person? What did they want to know? And that resentment builds and builds and builds. And then it just becomes this complete, unhappy, lonely, frictious environment. And it's just not fun. And in the end, being single is better, much better. And the same applies to the tradition of buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. I had a few offers accepted because I was falling into this trap. You know, I thought, yeah, I can afford a house now that I've moved to Dallas, and at the time houses were relatively affordable. And then I did the calculations, and I realized when I had the offer accepted, this I said, by the way, you need to pay for this inspection and that inspection, and if the house has a pool, it's got this and this and this, and you've got to add, and you need to send this deposit. And I realized I would just be opening a tap at the bottom of my bank account, and all of my money would just be pouring out of this tap into some unknown wastage. I would rather take that money and put it into the stock market, and in 10-15 years time that money is going to be worth a lot more in the stock market, unless of course we have a nuclear war or a complete collapse, which is highly possible in current times. But your house probably won't be worth much either if we have a nuclear war or a complete collapse. So I'm betting more on the stock market, and in the meantime I rent my home. I don't have to pay for maintenance. I don't have to worry about anything. I just pay my rent every month. If my air conditioning stops working, I open a ticket, they come and they fix it. If I even need a water filter in the refrigerator, open a ticket, go out, have a beer. When I come back from having a beer, they've already replaced the filter in the fridge. Folks, don't be pressured by ancient traditions. You don't need a partner. You certainly don't need to get married, and you don't need to buy a house. Do the calculation, do the math, do what's best for you. Remain single, free, and happy. Have a wonderful weekend.